Well, hello Pisces, this is Joe and I'm going to do your singles reading for July 2020. This is for those of you that aren't in a long-term committed relationship. You might be dating, or you might just be long-term single, or who knows, it doesn't matter. But anyway, this is an intuitive reading and it is inspired by the cards and by spirit. So it's not going to resonate, it's not going to be for everybody. And if it doesn't, that's no big deal. There's always a different message for a different day that might, speak to you. So I'm going to get right to it, and I'm going to pull the cards. I've already shuffled the cards. Happy, happy. That's always a positive start. I like that. And we're going to pull one of these and see where we're at, Pisces. That one wants to come out. Ooh, I think you're going from something that wasn't very attractive to something that is bringing you a lot of happiness in July. That's the overall feeling that I get. And so we're going to pull these. And by the way, this deck that I'm using is the Light Seers Tarot by Chris Ann. And look at that. I am giving out a copy of this in July, or at the end of July, just after the end anyway, to subscribers. So all you have to do is comment below, let me know that you're subscribed, and I will include you in the drawing. So you do have a lot of interesting things going on here, it looks like to me anyway. You're in the pursuit of happiness, and you have some similar cards to Cancer in their reading. Page of Swords. Okay, I have a message here, and I'm just going to go with it because I feel like I have to go with this message. And I think this message is going to be very narrowly directed toward not a whole lot of people here. But I feel like somebody's got a stalker. I think somebody has somebody that won't give up pursuing them, and I think it's causing a lot of anxiety, Pisces. I think it's something that's just been really annoying, and I think somebody's very persistent. I feel like somebody's very persistent in their pursuit of you, and it's starting to feel a little bit creepy, and I feel like it's causing you a lot of just emotional upset. But I don't think it's going to last. I think this is maybe somebody that you are dealing with that might be a little bit unstable, and you might be worried that they might be a little bit unhinged. But I don't see that. I don't feel that. I just feel that you have somebody that's obsessed with you. And I think that they've probably have caused you a lot of problems in relationships that obviously are not romantic, but friendships and family. I think this somebody here is very highly geared toward drama, and I think they have put you in a lot of bad places, or at least a few times it put you in some uncomfortable situations. And I think that you've been trying to communicate to this person that they need to just back off. And I think in July they make one last attempt at trying to persuade you to revisit things, and I don't think you're having that. I think in July you're really relying on friends, family, those that you're closest to that bring you happiness, companionship, and intimacy on a level that is obviously not romantic, but this is a type of intimacy that you can confide in these people that are close to you. And I think this is where you're getting your strength, and this is where you're just trying to close this person out, trying to shut them out. I think when they do, you might have had some issues on social media with this person, and they may have tried to either cause some trouble, or they've been a little publicly dramatic, and I think it's really maybe embarrassed you, and it's been very upsetting. And so again, this message is very specific. Why it's coming out, I don't know where it's coming from. It's just kind of coming out of my mouth, and I think this is for very few people. But the person is stalking you in a sense, and they just have seemed like they aren't going to let up. And I think they do come in for one last attempt. And you might be feeling like they're really spoiling your mood. They're really just really making you feel down. And you just want them to go the heck away and leave you the heck alone. I almost want to swear in this. That's kind of the feeling I get. I feel like I should just cuss, because I feel like that's the frustration and energy that you're experiencing. But I think you know that they're coming back for one last attempt, and they're not going to come back in a way that is genuine, and they're going to try to present themselves as somebody that they're not. But you're not going to be fooled. I think you finally, though, in July, I think this is probably very early in July, where whoever this is, they're trying to have one last go around, trying to persuade you. And I think because they're probably a bit narcissistic, that eventually they're just going to go away, because it's too damaging to their ego to continually be turned down. And so I don't think they're going to continue to gaslight you or cause you any issues. I think they're just going to move on to somebody else and put their energy in that. So Pisces, this is very interesting, but you have the Hanged Man, and I think you get a little bit of a breather, and you get to kind of clear all that out. And then you have the Three of Wands. So I actually like how this turns out. It feels very heavy going into July, and it feels very difficult. And it's just like having to have a lot of stamina, not show your emotions and feelings, being kind of stoic and determined. I feel like maybe very stone cold in a sense, because if you show any emotions, this person probably takes advantage of that. And so it's kind of like having to be just completely devoid of any emotional response. I think you're trying to keep it on an intellectual level, and I think that's where you defeat them, is with intellect, because they can't reason with that. And so I think you do have a bit of time in July where you get a breather, and you get to kind of recenter yourself and kind of regroup. And I think that things do turn out very good for you in July. I think you start to feel happy again. And I don't, it's not that I see really love incoming or relationship incoming, but the Three of Wands to me is what you're really wanting and what you're hoping for is off in the distance a ways, but it's not too far off. This isn't, to me, something that is months and months down the road. I think you get some new opportunity coming in eventually, and that may not be until August sometime. But it doesn't matter to you, because after this, what you've been going through, being single to you, you're perfectly fine with that. But I think you enjoy yourself again, and I think you actually kind of just are okay with that. Like the drama was just too much, and I just see you just really kind of pulling yourself back together and chalking it up as a lesson learned, and you're not going to, I think, revisit that anymore. Once it's over with, I think you're going to kind of block this person out of your life. I don't think they're going to come back around after this last time. I think they're leaving you alone. And I think, like I said, you're going to communicate with intellect, okay? And they can't defeat that. But I also feel like this Page of Swords, I see this card two ways. I feel like there should be one right side up and one upside down. That's kind of how I'm seeing this, because I feel like one is you and one is your person. And I do like almost see this like you're approaching things very pragmatically, and your person is very stalker-like and spying and kind of checking up on you and maybe stirring things up. And I see you really just having to find a way to defeat that on a level that he or she, I'm sorry because gender doesn't matter here, but this to me does feel like a male energy is kind of what I get. But you're just having to defeat that kind of on a level of intellect, because they're not on that level. They're very immature. So Pisces, that's kind of what I see here, and I think this is not for a whole lot of people here. This is to me very, very specific, but that's okay. I'd rather have a specific reading than have one that's just overly broad in general. So you have happy, happy. That's where you're ultimately going to. And I think, you know, once you can cut this person off and cut them out, that you're going to be okay. And you're going to leave behind this the Six of Spades, this crumbling kind of relationship, or this past relationship that has been crumbling. And, you know, there's really nothing left of it. I think you're leaving that behind, and you are getting into your happy place, Pisces. So you are looking toward better things in July at some point. I think you got to get through a little bit of this drama. And you're probably going through it right now. And depending on when you're watching this, you know, you might be watching this in June. You might be late June, early July. So it's not an exact template. Anyway, Pisces, I think you're going to get through it just fine. You just got to get rid of this weirdo stalker, and you'll be okay. With that said, if you want to win a copy of this deck, I'm giving one away in July, or just after the end of July. If you're a subscriber, just comment below. Let me know that you're subscribed, and I will include you. If you're not subscribed, go ahead, subscribe, and let me know that you did, and I will automatically include you also in that drawing when the time comes after the end of July. And this is the deck that I was working with today. This is the one that is up for grabs at the end of July. So I'm going to leave it there, Pisces. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll talk to you again very, very soon.